Urban renewal refers to a set of plans and activities to upgrade neighborhoods and suburbs that are in a state of distress or decay. Urban renewal programs address the physical aspects of urban decay. The renewal process can include demolishing old run-down buildings, constructing new, up-to-date housing, or adding in features like a theater or a stadium. Urban renewal is usually undergone for the purposes of persuading wealthier individuals to come live in the area. Urban problems such as deteriorating housing, poor physical infrastructure including water and sanitation services, and poor community services such as sports and recreational amenities are addressed through such programs. Urban renewal is rapidly gaining ground in the more advanced European countries. At present, national programs going beyond the conventional slum clearance schemes exist only in a few nations but are being prepared in others. Further, in several countries in Europe, urban renewal programs are financed by specific national funds, making it possible to link together physical urban planning and various social programs. For instance, the National Program for Urban Renewal in France. France's policy dates back to 1977, when the first city contracts were established to respond to the need for affordable housing. Over time, the focus of city contracts broadened to include other development priorities. The 1994-2006 city contracts focused on a range of priorities, from housing rehabilitation to employment and transport. The 2006-2014 urban social cohesion contracts focused on neighborhoods in difficulty. In Netherlands, the Dutch policy on integrated urban renewal shows clear parallels with the experience in other Western European countries, demonstrating that a Western European paradigm of urban policies is in the making, integrated, area-based, with involvement of both public and market partners and residents. Nevertheless, the Dutch case is more outspoken than the approaches in other Western European countries, by paying more attention to the issue of social cohesion or integration and to the promotion of social mix as a solution for a lack of social cohesion in neighborhoods. In Germany, since 1999, the federal government has been supporting urban development and strengthening social cohesion in disadvantaged urban areas with its urban development program called Social City. The program is dedicated to a complex task. It links the structural investments of urban renewal with measurements to improve living conditions in the district. The objective is, above all, to promote animated neighborhoods and strengthen social cohesion. While BUENO's purpose includes the general planning and operation of various urban renewal programs designed to prevent or eliminate blight and deterioration in the city of Buffalo, some people in the community feel that BUENO puts a higher value on its relationships with developers than with other community organizations or community members. One notable controversy is BUENO's involvement in a lawsuit where residents of Hickory Woods, South Buffalo, were awarded $7.2 million for contaminating in the area. In this case, many residents documented illnesses and property damages. Hickory Woods was an area of South Buffalo where about 60 houses were being developed near an old steel site. Environmental risks were not fully assessed by the city, and residents were not made aware of the potential harms. Once an environmental assessment was completed, the area was found to contain a large number of carcinogens. Over the years, there have been many criticisms of the way Buffalo spends its CDBG and home funds. For example, spending too much on staff salaries and overhead, failing to hold grantees accountable for poor performance, emphasizing new construction over rehabilitation, and spending money on market-rate housing instead of affordable housing. BUENO, like other independent and semi-independent authorities in New York State, has also been criticized for lack of accountability to the public and for not having to follow laws and regulations that govern normal municipal operations. The federal government currently employs a range of programs, tools, and agencies in its efforts to address the nation's housing and community development challenges. The federal government first intervened in the housing market during the 1930s in an attempt to restore liquidity and stability to the financial system and to generate construction jobs. Creation of the Federal Home Loan Bank system and the Federal Housing Administration was not intended to assist the poor, but rather to aid lending institutions and help lift the U.S. economy out of the Depression. In 1937, the U.S. Housing Act created the Public Housing Program, authorizing local housing authorities to build units financed through long-term bonds to serve poor families. In 1938, the federal government chartered the first government-sponsored enterprise, which marked the beginning of a secondary mortgage market. Today, the LIHTC and HOPE programs support multifamily rental housing production. The federal government also promotes multifamily rental production by permitting issuance of tax-exempt bonds through FHA mortgage insurance products, and in rural areas, through direct and guaranteed loans provided through the Rural Housing Service, formerly known as the Farmers Home Administration of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. More than 1,000 construction projects on 1,000 square miles of urban land were undertaken between 1949 and 1973. When the Urban Renewal program officially ended, roughly 600,000 housing units were demolished, compelling some 2 million inhabitants to move. Reform movements began in 1901 with the New York State Tenement House Law and continued in the 1930s with zoning ordinances intended to separate residential areas from the health endangering waste products of industrial activities, and federal loans to build housing for workers who had fallen on hard times during the Great Depression. The major period of urban renovation in the United States began with the Title I of the 1949 Housing Act, the Urban Renewal Program, which provided for wholesale demolition of slums and the construction of some 800,000 housing units throughout the nation. The program's goals included eliminating substandard housing, constructing adequate housing, reducing de facto segregation, and revitalizing city economies. Participating local governments received federal subsidies totaling about $13 billion and were required to supply matching funds. We are currently creating local membership-based community organizations to make affordable housing a reality on Buffalo's west side. One example is PUSH, which was founded by Aaron Bartley and Eric Walker in 2005. The mission of PUSH Buffalo is to mobilize residents to create strong neighborhoods with quality, affordable housing, expand local hiring opportunities, and to advance economic justice in Buffalo. Community organizing is the lifeblood of PUSH. Since 2005, with the success of our block-by-block campaign, we have called on neighborhood residents and allies to participate in half a dozen direct action and legislative campaigns that have brought new resources to Buffalo's growing west side. These campaigns target all levels of government, including large-scale corporations like big banks and local utility companies like National Fuel. Each level of government has a specific range of responsibilities in helping to build competitive cities, as suggested by a publication of the Center of Urban and Metropolitan Policy of the Brookings Institution. The federal responsibility is to build wealth through management of the economy, income distribution, support for home ownership, and regulatory oversight. State responsibility is to manage metropolitan growth through land use, governance, and transportation. The responsibility of counties and municipalities is to know the local context and manage the process of building and maintaining the urban environment.